This is a tutorial on how to make your own custom invitation or holiday card using My Memory Suite digital scrapbooking software. When you first open My Memory Suite, you want to choose the Design Your Own option, and then select your album shape, either the portrait, landscape, or square. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the landscape album. When you select Design Your Own, you'll see that you have a nice clean slate to begin working on your project. Today, we are going to be walking through a simple but cute holiday card just so that I can walk you through some of the basic features, including sizing, when making an invitation or holiday card. Now, whenever I start a new project, I typically start with background papers. This gives me a nice jumping off point to sort of coordinate the rest of my color scheme throughout my project. My Memory Suite has a lot of different options for setting a background. You can choose a solid color, which is very simple to do, or you can select from one of their paper options. There are all kinds of different styles such as check, decorative, polka dots of all different sizes. I like the small polka dot, and since this is a Christmas card, we can choose something like cinnamon and click OK. And you'll see you'll have a nice polka dot background paper. All papers and embellishments that are part of this software all coordinate with one another, so it's really quick and easy and inexpensive to put together any kind of card using just the pieces that are included in your software. However, if the color options, paper, and texture that My Memory Suite offers isn't quite what you're looking for, you can also shop their store, or you can upload a custom paper from your computer. When you choose that, it gives you the option to go into your computer files. Here I've selected the Joy and Jolly papers, and I'm going to pick a background that I have purchased from online and click OK. And you'll see that that background will be installed into the software. Now, at any time throughout my project, I have the option of coming back here to background and changing it up so you're not stuck with it throughout the whole time. But I'm happy with this background, so now I'd like to get started on my text and picture for the card. But as you can see, this is kind of a bright background and I need something to sort of offset my text. So what I like to do is come over here to Shapes, and you can choose any kind of shape to use as sort of your mat to your text and your picture, but I typically like either using the straight edge square or rectangle, or in scallops, there's a great scalloped rectangle or square. So it really just depends on how you want your invitation to look. But for today, we're going to go back to originals and just use the standard square or rectangle. And then click close. This is the standard size that the square is each time that you choose one from your shape options. But I want to customize it to fit for the text and picture of my invitation. After lots of sort of trial and error, I have found that a width of 9 and a height of 6 is a great size square to use for your text and picture of your invitation. And we're going to do our best to center it on the page. And in order to center our square, we want to use this handy little grid feature up top. You can turn it on and off as you need it, but it just helps make sure that your elements are in line where you want them to be. And then when they're set, you can just turn it off. Now, the reason why this square is so much smaller than obviously your background is that once you are finished with your invitation or holiday card, you're going to need to crop it in your photo editing software. And most times you're going to do that to a 5x7 or 4x6. So you just want to make sure you're giving yourself enough background to play with when cropping so that you're not cutting it all off. And I have found 9x6 to be a great square to work from. So now that we have it centered, we can start working on our text and picture. I'm not really liking the gray that is the default color for our shape, so I'm going to choose a different color. Now, over here in the toolbar, you can choose from something as simple as a black or white. You can also change it to any color from the palette or swatches, or you can use my favorite feature, which is the picker. And this allows you to go to any other background or embellishment that's on your page and select a color so that it perfectly coordinates. So here I've selected green, and you see that that matches. Now you can make your background any solid color that you want, but I often find that white just works better to really make the text and picture pop from the invitation. However, when you select something as neutral as white, you'll see that it just sort of blends into my background. So I want to give this a border. And to do that, I want to come back over here to my toolbar and select matte. Now, when it comes to borders, you can have something as thin as a line or something as thick as a large frame. It's really up to how you want it to look. I typically stay between 8 and 10 for a border for an invitation. And black is not quite going to work, so I'm going to go here to change and select a color. Again, I'd like to use my picker feature and choose my green. click OK. Make sure sizing is right. Click OK again. And you'll see that now my shape has a nice border and it coordinates perfectly with my background. Now, another feature that works great with any of the shapes, photos, or embellishments you use in the software is to use this feature called shadow. And shadow just basically gives these elements a sort of 3D look and makes them pop off the page. You can customize the amount of shadow that you want and where you want it, and when you're done, you click OK. And you'll see here that now my square has a nice little shadow, and it just gives it sort of a 3D look coming off of your background paper. If for some reason you don't like that shadow, it's easy to remove. You just come back to the toolbar, and then when you click on shadow, you'll see the remove. And then you want to remove it just from the selected. And see, now it's gone. It's just a nice feature, but it's really personal preference. And sometimes helps pictures stand out as well. But we can talk more about that when we get to our photo. So now we've got our workspace for our text and our picture. So let's get those uploaded and get started. Over here in Photos, there's really two ways to add a photo into My Memory Suite. You can either choose this button and search your files, or if you already have your folder of photos sort of up on your computer, you can use the click and drag feature, which is I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to grab my photo and I'm going to drag it right onto my project. And you can see there it is. So now that I have my picture up, I want to work on sizing. And I also want to give it a nice border the way that I've given my shape a border. So now that my picture is highlighted, I can come back over here to Matte, select the size. I'm going to go just a little smaller with a 6. And I don't want it to be white, so I'm going to change it. And I'm going to choose my picker again. I think I'm going to go with my red. So I'll make sure I got that in. Here's the sample. Click OK. So now my picture has a nice border too. Now you can size your picture easily just by dragging it to any size that you want. Okay, you also have the ability to crop. If you see over here, you can crop a picture, you can rotate it if you need to. There's lots of things that you can actually do in the software, including effects. So say that my picture on my computer is color, but I want, black and white or sepia and so forth. You can change all that, or you can click cancel if you want to go back to your original. So there's lots you can do for editing within your project for your photos as well. But for this case, we've got our picture, and I'm going to make it centered as best I can. I also want to make it a little smaller so I have some room for my text. I'm even going to shorten it a bit more. So I want it in the center of the page. So again, I can pull up my little handy grid and make sure that I have this centered just the way that I want it on my page. And then take it away. Now it's time for me to add some text. So I am going to come over here to my toolbar and click text, and I want to add some to my picture. So you'll see that a text box pops up. This is the default size, and over here in the toolbar this is the default font and size, but you can change all of that. So what I typically like to do before I even type my font in is to move my box to where I'm going to want my writing and just roughly eye up how big of a space I want. So I just want to put a very simple phrase at the top here. So I'm going to lower my picture just a little bit as well. Okay, so we're going to double click in our text box and we can type in what we want it to say. So I would like to say, have a Merry Christmas. And you can see it's too small and it's not the right color. So to make adjustments, we're going to highlight it, and you know that it's highlighted by that blue. The first thing I want to do over here is a line. I'd like it to be in center. And then I'm going to choose a new font. Now, your computers are going to have quite a few fonts for you to select. My Memory Suite comes with some. You can download many from the internet for free or purchase them. So it's really up to you. One font that I've really used a lot is called Chalkboard. And it's just a fun, sort of soft, font that you can use for anything really. I like it a lot for kids stuff too. So we've got our font changed and we're still highlighted. So let's choose our size. And this you just experiment with to see how it fits best in your invitation. So we'll start right now with, say, 40, and we'll see how that works. And I like the size of this, but you'll see that my text box is now red. It basically means that my font's just a little big for the space that I've given it. So you can first try to sort of move your box out and make it work until the red is gone, which mine is now. So now you can click off of your font, and it's there, but you can go back and highlight it and move it any way that you need to again and again. So I want that centered. Again, I'll throw out my grid and it looks pretty good. So I'll turn my grid off. Now you'll see that my text is black and it's not really going with our invitation. So I'm going to highlight it one last time and change color. And you can do the same things that you've done before. Choose black, choose white, change a color from the palette, or you've got your picker. So I'm going to choose red for that text and click OK. And so now my font is there. Now, like I showed you before, there's also that shadow option, and I sometimes like using shadow just for my text because it really makes it stand out. So I'm going to click OK, and you'll see that my text has a nice shadow now. Just kind of makes it stand out from that background. So I've got my text, and now I want to just sign off on the bottom, love the Davis family. And to do that, I'm going to show you how to add a clip art as well. You know how to do photos and text now, but to do a clip art or embellishment, as they call it, you just need to come back to your toolbar and click Add. Again, My Memory Suite has a ton of embellishments already installed, brads, buttons, flourishes, flowers, and so forth. But if I want something custom that I've gotten from the internet or something that I already have on my computer, I can choose Browse Other. This brings me back to my computer files. So I'm going to go back to my digital scrapbooking file, and I'm going to find the little clip arts that I want, which are these little stitch hearts. I'm going to choose my PNG so that I have a transparent background. And I want to go with this red heart. Okay, and then I'm going to click close, and there's my clip art installed on my project. And again, I can move it anywhere I want. This I want just down here at the bottom of my card. And I just want it to be a little heart for love. And then I need to add more text now. So I'm going to come back up to my text box, click Add, and again I want to move that text box and kind of shape it to where I'm going to want this text to go, which is down here at the bottom. There's really so much that you can do with text. I'm just showing you the basics at this point, but I highly recommend taking some time to sort of, you know, play around with it, especially once you get more comfortable using the features. So I've got what I want to say. I want to match my font again, so I want to do chalkboard. And I'm thinking that just a little bit smaller than that 40 will work. We'll do a 36. My box is red again, so that means that I didn't quite give it enough room. So I'll just move that. And we're done. I want to change my color. I've already used red, so this time I'm going to pick my green. Again, still coordinating. Now my text is green. So then I can just move this however I want. And just so you know, with all text, pictures, and clip arts, the other thing that you can do is if you need to rotate any of your stuff in any way to any degree, you just want to get this little circle arrow to highlight, and then you can tilt and turn anything that you want, and it's a simple way to do that. So here we have our holiday card. Again, this is incredibly simple. You can get so much more creative with all of the features on here, but all of the basics that we walk through today is all you really need to know in order to make your own invitation. I will end up cropping this to a 5x7 in my other digital photo editing software, just whatever you have installed on your computer. You just need to resize it. And then I can upload it to any photo lab or have it printed just on home on my own computer. And it's a fun, easy way to make invitations and cards yourself. Again, I highly recommend spending some time just playing around with all these great features. My Memory Suite has so much to offer, and there's so many great things that you can do. So if you'd like any more information about the software, please visit the My Memory Suite website. And if you'd like to see any of my other tutorials or tips on how to use the software, you can visit me at either at www.adailydoseofdavis.com or www.thepolkadotposy.com. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. I really hope it helped you out.